Welcome to the Explainer. Sometimes a single verse from a sacred text can just change everything. Today, we're going to unpack one just like that from the Quran. It's a verse that was revealed to settle a high-stakes social standoff, and in doing so, it gives us a timeless lesson on the company we keep and what that says about who we really are.
So here it is, verse 28 from the Quran's 18th chapter, the Cave. But this powerful instruction, it wasn't revealed in a vacuum. No, it was a direct response to a really intense social pressure cooker moment that the Prophet Muhammad was facing.
To really get the weight of this, we've got to travel back in time. So picture this, we're in 7th century Mecca, right in the middle of a pivotal encounter between the Prophet and the city's powerful elite.
So you've got two groups, right? On one side, you have the big shots, the chieftains of the Quraysh tribe, guys who prized wealth, power, and status above everything else. And on the other side, you have the Prophet's earliest followers. These were men like Bilal and Salman, sincere, deeply pious, but with zero social standing. They were poor, some were even former slaves, and they wore simple wool garments.
And then the elite laid down an ultimatum. They saw the Prophet with his humble companions and basically said, look, we'll consider your message, but we can't be seen with them. Set up a special council, just for us. Get rid of them. It was a stark choice. Their potential influence in exchange for ditching his most loyal follower.
And this is the real nail-biter moment. The sources tell us that for a second there, the Prophet actually thought about it. I mean, you can see the logic, right? What if converting these leaders could bring the entire city into the fold? It was a classic dilemma. Do you go for social influence, or do you stick with unwavering loyalty?
And right at that critical moment, just as he's weighing his options, the divine answer comes down. And it's not just some gentle guidance. It's a clear, decisive, three-part command that would literally set a principle for all time. Stay with them. The Arabic is wasbir nafsak, which is so much more than just be patient. It's like bind your very soul to them. In other words, don't you dare move. Stay right here with your devoted, humble followers. And then, part 2, don't look away. The verse says, and let not your eyes pass beyond them. He's being told, don't get distracted by the glamour and prestige of the elite, what the verse calls the zest of worldly life. Don't even let your eyes wander past these loyal guys. And finally, the knockout punch, a direct, no-nonsense prohibition. And do not obey one whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance. That was it, the ultimatum from the elite, absolutely, unequivocally rejected. So with that divine answer, the choice was crystal clear. The Prophet immediately goes and finds his humble companions who were sitting in the back of the mosque. He sits right down among them, expresses his gratitude, and in that one act, a totally new standard of value was just cemented into place. You see, this verse, it does more than just solve one problem in history. It paints this incredibly vivid picture of two opposing ways of life, two completely different circles of influence that honestly, we can all find ourselves caught between. So you have the righteous circle. Their motivation? It's all about sincerity, acting only to seek the face of God. Now contrast that with the heedless circle. What drives them? Hawa, which is just personal whims, desires, whatever feels good. Their hearts are totally disconnected, forgetful, and the result of all this heedlessness? Well, the verse uses this one amazing Arabic word to describe their state, and that word is farada. It's just brilliant because it's not a simple word, it has layers. On one hand, it means being wasteful and excessive, just going way over the line. But it also means being ruinous and lost, a state of total neglect where your affairs just kind of unravel into chaos. It's the perfect description for a life that's lost its compass. So this story from 7th century Mecca, it becomes this timeless, super practical lesson for all of us about the massive impact of the company we choose to keep.
There's this famous analogy from the Prophet that just nails this idea. Good company, it's like hanging out with a perfume seller. Even if you don't buy a thing, you're going to walk away smelling great. But bad company, that's like a blacksmith. Even if you dodge all the sparks, you just can't escape that foul smell of smoke. The point is, the influence, it rubs off on you no matter what.
So what do you actually get from a good circle? Well, the sources laid out pretty clearly. This kind of company is basically a total support system. They're a mirror to show you your blind spots. They're a shield protecting you from going off track. And they are your biggest cheerleaders, encouraging you. These are the people who remind you of what's really important. And they've got your back even when you're not there. And this all leads to a really crucial takeaway. Our friends don't just influence us a little bit here and there. No. This saying suggests they actively shape our path, our character, our entire way of life. So in a way, choosing your friends is really choosing your destination. When you step back, you realize this verse wasn't just a command.
It was a revolution. It completely flipped the social rulebook of 7th century Mecca on its head, and, honestly, it challenges the rules we still live by today.
Just think about it. The world's standards for worth were all external. Wealth, status, power. This verse just sweeps all of that off the table, and it replaces it with a totally internal measuring stick. All of a sudden, the real measure of a person is their sincerity, their awareness of God, and the quality of the company they keep.
And that really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? True value isn't about what you own or the title on your business card. It's about who you are, who you're with, and what you're all striving for together. Your real worth is reflected in the circle you build around you.
So this leaves us with a final, pretty challenging question to ask ourselves. If we really are defined by the company we keep, then what happens when we look at our own inner circle? What does it reflect back at us? What path is it shaping for us? And maybe most importantly, what does it say about what we truly value most?